Hi everybody, Honest John here. On 9/11/2001, the United States was attacked by Al-Qaeda at the direction of Osama bin Laden. This attack should probably have never happened. Looking back, we know that the George W. Bush administration had all the information that they needed to prevent that attack from happening, but they failed to act and the world changed. This led to two wars. We invaded the nation of Afghanistan, and also we invaded Iraq, despite the fact that nobody in Iraq had anything to do with the attack on 9/11. The leadership of Iraq, nor any Iraqi citizen was involved in it. Most people view the war with Iraq as a mistake. It led to the destabilization of the Middle East and resulted in the creation of ISIS, which is a major threat to the world right now. We stayed in Iraq for 10 years. And when we left, very soon we had to go back in because the Iraq almost got taken over by ISIS. The Iraqi army was not capable of dealing with it. We had to go back in and fight them with the Kurds. So there's no doubt that the Iraq war was a mistake. We're still in Afghanistan, and it's hard to say whether or not we accomplished anything there. It's 20 years later, and we're finally getting out. President Biden has announced that the United States will withdraw from Afghanistan along with our NATO allies on September 11th, 2021. 20 years after we went in. Whether it was a mistake, I guess that will be decided by history. It certainly looks like one. It certainly can't be considered a success. We had all these ambitions. We thought we could transform Afghanistan into a modern, forward-looking democracy. That's just not in their DNA. To a large extent, the country is ungovernable. Centralized control requires infrastructure, and it just doesn't exist there. Even when the Taliban was nominally in charge of the country, there were lots of areas that they didn't control. When we leave, Afghanistan will revert back to what it's always been. There may be a civil war. The Taliban may take over, which would be very unfortunate, but it seems that for some reason the Afghani army, which we spent 20 years training and millions of dollars, lacks the inclination and the skill to defeat the Taliban. And that's too bad, because especially for the women of Afghanistan who hoped to enter into the modern world and be treated like actual human beings, well, that's probably not going to happen. They're going to find themselves under the yoke of oppression of fanatically stupid men. Afghanistan may also become a haven for terrorists. So even though we won't go back in there in force, we'll probably be launching drone strikes and missile strikes and even the occasional special forces operation into Afghanistan for years to come. It's doubtful that the current government will survive. Another issue that we need to deal with is there were a lot of Afghanis who worked with the United States, and they are now in mortal danger. And we need to allow those people to come to the United States to avoid being murdered. We are already seen as an unreliable ally by many people in the world because Donald Trump double-crossed the Kurds, who are our best ally, who did most of the fighting against ISIS and helped us to drive them out of Iraq and out of much of Syria. And we double-crossed them. So if we allow those people in Afghanistan to just be murdered, we'll never regain our credibility. We'll never be seen as a reliable ally again. Whatever happens in Afghanistan, the situation there and in Iraq should serve as a reminder that it's easy to start a war and even to achieve military victories. But actually winning a war, that just doesn't happen nowadays. Thanks for listening.